your shop took in this Hurricane, or is this a car you guys own?
It's a customer's car.
Customer's car. Is this your shop?
Yes, it's my shop.
And what's your name?
My name is Jaden.
Jaden, I'm Dave.
Nice to meet you.
I haven't met a young guy like that working on a Lamborghini.
I have a full European shop. I've been doing this probably for 7 years. I mainly did BMW and Porsche. I did all air-cooled stuff. I would tear down engines, the Mesger engine, you know. And I did a lot of that stuff, but now I'm all on my own.
Wow. Well, that happened to me almost 4 decades ago, so
it's pretty
good
cool.
luck. Who's this? Your helper, a friend?
My boy.
I'm Zach.
Zach, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You were working on the car. Give me the history of why we're looking at this engine. You were working on the car. What were you doing to the car?
We did a power steering rack. Because the electric racks, you know, they use a belt between the motor and the rack and pinion, and the belt actually broke on the guy. It seized the steering. It caught up in there while he was driving.
Okay.
And so we fixed that. Had a misfire on cylinder E. We fixed that, and then we drove great. Brought it back to the shop, and then
What did you do to fix the misfire?
just replaced the coil.
It's a coil unplug. I'm not familiar. Okay. So just the coil went bad.
Replaced the coil, ran great, no more misfire. Brought it back to the shop. Next day, pulled it out. The oil light came on. And then
You're like, what the crap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So.
And the customer, obviously, you asked the customer, and the customer said, never had this problem.
Well, actually, we're working with a dealership. Customer car through a dealership. So the dealer brought it to me, and it's one of their customers. So they're like the middle people, I guess. I don't even know the customer.
So the dealership brought it to you?
Yeah.
What dealership? We don't have a dealership of Lamborghini dealership.
It's a used car dealership.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is this car actually got a customer, or is it owned by the used car dealership?
It's got a customer. Yeah. It's only got 15,000 miles on it, but
that's a lot of miles on it.
I think it was a rental car at one point, is what people say. I mean, the car's kind of beat.
So the drive belt for the dry sump pump.
It's actually all mechanical.
Okay, so
And so there's an intermediate shaft. I can show you photos. Actually.
Sure.
There's the shaft. Broken.
Wow. So the pump seized up. Have you taken the old pump apart? Have you got the old pump? Is it still on the engine?
No, it's at my shop, but I have a new pump here.
Yeah, I want to see the old pump. Did you pull the oil filter off of this and look at it? Or
I
did.
I did.
Oh, good for you. Look at you.
There's definitely some metal in there.
Oh yeah, dude. That's not some. That's it. We call that around here a shit ton.
That is a shit ton.
Yeah, that's a shit ton, dude. That's not little. That looks like bearing matter. How long did the engine run with no oil pressure?
10 seconds.
This could be, the pump matter. That's why I want to look at the pump. So I'll have you bring that back to me.
Yeah, I can do that.
That's okay. All right, let's get it unloaded. Pull around to the other shop. Let's go check it out. It's a Lamborghini. And it's got a dry sump and a pump that failed on it. That's the old one or the new one?
This is the new one.
That ain't no new pump.
Well, it's used.
We're just gonna keep killing ourselves here, huh? So you're telling me that's the shaft I'm looking at? That have you turned this one?
I have not.
You bought this out of a junkyard off the internet or something?
No, Lamborghini shop.
Tell me what you're expecting me to do here.
Just check the bottom end, mainly what I want, and rebuild the bottom.
Check the bottom end.
The rod bearings and main bearings.
I don't know that I want to do that. Let's haul it out of here, Joey. Okay, I'm gonna have you pull your truck out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine. You got time.
Where does that pump mount? Right there?
Oh yeah.
Here's what I think you ought to do.
I would think the best thing in my mind, if this is me and this happened in my shop, I would have me mount that pump on there. You got the gaskets and everything for it?
I can get some coming for you.
Yeah, I'll need that. And then I'll mount that up on there and then run it in my sim test machine, and we'll see if it develops oil pressure, makes any noise, and do a running compression test on it. That's where I would start with it.
Okay.
I need that old pump because I want to disassemble it and have a look and see, what grenaded in that thing and seized up. I guess the soft side of that shaft that we're turning that pump with, It just ate that up, right? Gotcha. Your question is why that pump seize up at 15,000 miles? Did it ingest something from
This
the
also concerns me. All these yellow marks. Upon research, none of these engines really have that. So
Well, yeah, this definitely looks like these Valkyrie stuff has been off.
I feel like it's been touched before. Yeah. Transmission bolt right here. They're like one-time use. Someone's had the trans off, and this bolt actually stuck out like a 1/4 inch out of the transmission because they're aluminum. And they stretch, and then you can't really use them again.
So what's that? The stud, and then you put a nut over the top of that?
No, that was a bolt. And we tried removing it, and
Oh, so it just snapped off.
yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been touched.
Gotcha. It looks like a pretty nice. It looks like a stud, but you're saying it's got a bolt head on it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What year is this?
2015.
15,000 miles. And the oil filter, you don't.
I can do that.
Yeah, you got a good picture, so that's fine. But I'll need the housing and everything to run it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can run in a wet bench, meaning it's this machine standing right behind you.
Yeah. Okay.
I lower that in there, and it's got a shaft here. I'll show you. We run all our engines that we build in this. It's not a dyno. Put this adapter plate at the back of it, slip it in here in a joint, and then run the engine.
That's cool. That's really
And then I can do a running compression test on it. I can check my oil pressure. You know, I can only run it up to about 500 RPM.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we do that, you know, give it a half-hour runtime, a test, put a new oil filter on it, and then recheck.
Yeah.
I think that's your best option. Then if we find a problem, now see, this is how you have to understand this. Think of it this way. I'm about to do like blood work, a CAT scan, an X-ray, and remember, blood work, a CAT scan, and an X-ray, did it ever fix anybody? No. It doesn't. It just tells the doctor, hey, maybe we should go here, we should go there. Yeah. Instead of just let's just rip the patient open. Let's get him prepped for surgery. Let's just cut them. Let's cut his guts open, and then we're just going to poke around in there. I don't think that's the way to go. But just you need to understand what we're doing here is not going to fix anything.
Yeah.
And we might not need to do anything. We might just need to put this pump on here. And how long does that take you to get out of there?
A day, probably. Yeah.
Okay. Another day and a half to get it back in and plug it in. I think that's our best bet. So you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have you make a deposit. We'll try to get this in. I'm thinking it's going to be a week or two before we get it. But you got to bring me back the oil filter housing. Give me a new oil filter. I'll need that. Bring me your element. I want to look at the material in there under a microscope. And gaskets to reseal this used oil pump, water pump assembly. Give me everything I need on that. Because I can't do nothing until I really get all that.
Yeah.
So you get me that, and then I'll put this in the queue for dispatch, and we'll get it going.
Perfect.
That sound like a plan?
Yeah, good.
Peace,
Sweet.
man.
Thank you so much.
You too, Zach. You got a shop and everything, man. Where'd you work before that?
I worked at Morris Brothers Motorsports in Murray.
Uh-huh.
They've been around for 10 years. So I basically was there for the beginning of it, and kind of taught myself everything.
How old are you now?
25.
This kid's me. Just got longer hair than I do. I used to have long hair like that. I used to have all that kind of hair. That's cool, man. It's nice. It's nice to meet young men that still, you know, they're out there. Guys with piss and vinegar in their shorts.
And I build race cars too. You know?
Yeah.
So I have a drift car, BMW with an LS in it, fully caged. It costs too much. I'm broke.
I've had a few race cars in my life, and I've decided that in the universe, you guys have heard of black holes? Well, they didn't have to look far. They didn't have to look to outer space for a black hole. I owned one. It was a race car.
Oh yeah.
You know? Well, we'll get you out of here, and let's get you back next door, get a deposit made, and we'll wait for you to bring me those parts.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, guys. I'll tell you this. Put this on your wall, dude. Always do this. Condition. This is gonna make you a great mechanic. Cause. Correction. Confirm. Do not ever miss one of those steps. No oil pressure, that's your condition. No oil pressure. The cause, you now know the old oil pump seized and it tore the gears on the shaft. We don't know all the causes yet, right? That's why we're kind of stopping here before we go to the correction. You don't ever want to stop, you don't ever want to go to a correction until you're firm on the cause. That's what's ruined our industry is guys just, I call it hunting with a shotgun instead of a rifle. So I'm gonna run that engine on my sim bench, put oil in it, get the pump on it, and check stuff, and then reopen up that oil filter element and see if we've got all that matter gone, instead of just ripping a motor open. And then what, we get in there and we don't really find anything, so we're gonna dig a little deeper, waste more time, more money, and all this stuff. You know, we'll do a running compression test on it. We'll probably go ahead and bore scope some of the holes, look at the cylinder walls, you know, and stay away from, you know, splitting that whole thing open, man, because oof. If I could teach anything to a young man, it would be that is the secret to success of fixing anything in your life. This Lambo motor that got dropped off, I got to wait on some parts. He didn't bring me everything, but I think the first thing, and I just talked to him about it, you know, I don't ever want to tear into a motor that somebody's brought me like this that's so expensive. So we're going to get it up and running, in the sense running where I can put it in my sim test machine. I got a feeling this can turn into two things. I can put this used pump on here, and that's what I'm gonna do. New oil filter housing, run it for half hour to an hour on the sim test. Do a running compression test. We'll pull, in order to do that, I gotta pull all the coil packs off of it. It's a V10, and then we'll bore scope every hole, run the compression, run it, check for oil pressure, then we'll disassemble the oil filter housing again and look at the paper element under a microscope. And if it all looks good at that point, we'll see if the customer gets lucky. We'll put the motor back. But there's some things here that worry me. These yellow dots here, this motor's been apart, and it looks like, you know, they've had it down here to this coolie where the oil, this is the oil cooler. So they've had it down before at that point. So I don't know, man, but a 15,000 mile Lambo that's seized up in a dry sump makes me worried big time. We're gonna end this video now because it's gonna be a couple weeks probably before I get to this thing to a point where I can load this in my sim test, but we'll have another video on that. So the mystery will continue.